If you want to make real money selling AI systems to businesses in 2025, please stay away from single agent use cases and single automations. The real money, the big money, the money that you want is inside selling AI agentic operating systems, AI infrastructure, or as some people call it, AI software and AI applications. And everybody's going to try to convince you that you should focus on selling this end-to-end workflow for $5 or $10 or $20,000. But the truth is, they are wrong. I have tried it myself and it doesn't work. It didn't work for me. And I've been doing this for the past 15 months. I've sold over $250,000 worth of AI systems to businesses. And all the projects that pay the most money, they have one thing in common. They all feel like you're building a custom SaaS product from the ground up. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly why you should focus on selling agentic operating systems instead of single use case AI agents and how that works. So there are three reasons why selling single use case AI agents and workflows doesn't actually work. The first reason is that the market is now commoditized. Let me explain. So all these AI influencers that we see on YouTube, me, myself, Nate Herg, Nick Sarive, Leah Motley, and so many other great people, for the past 2 years, as I'm sure you guys know, we have been sharing our hard-to-build agents and automation systems on our YouTube channels, breaking them down. And at the end of each video, we were giving away the templates on N8N or Make.com or any of these platforms to you guys for either completely free. All my templates are free inside my school community, or charging a very small amount of money for them. I think Nate Herg at some point was charging like $59 a month and you could get all these templates. Nick Sarive, same thing. You could get a lot of value for a very small price or even entirely free. And sure, that was a great thing. It generated a lot of attention in the space. It accelerated the rate at which businesses adopt this technology. However, one of the downsides of this phenomenon was that it attracted a lot of business owners, either startups or very small businesses who were ascribing to the DIY mentality. And it also attracted a lot, I want to say a lot, I mean a shitload of startup AI agency owners and people from all around the world who wanted to start their own agency, but they didn't really have any technical background. So what happens when you have 50,000 AI agency owners who are just getting started and know nothing about building automations, and 5,000 business owners who are taking these templates and implementing them themselves? Well, what happens is it results in a price war because all these templates are available for free or very cheap. Everyone has access to them. They all take them, they start selling them or trying to sell them to the people that already got them for free in the first place. And it just results in this big mess. And the price of these systems is just plummeting, drops down completely. So the market is now commoditized. It wasn't always this way, but it has been this way, at least in the past few months. The second reason why selling single use case agents and automations doesn't actually work is because they simply don't solve a big enough problem. If you actually analyze it, business owners don't care about AI. They couldn't care less about your fancy AI workflow, my fancy AI workflow, about all the API calls and the data structure and which LLM you use. They couldn't care less. For that matter, they don't even care if you're using AI or not. What they actually want and what they're actually paying for is a solution to a problem that they have, a painful problem or a transformation that you can help them achieve. And the truth of the matter, guys, is that a single AI agent, it simply doesn't make a big enough impact to move the needle for any business and transform the actual problem that they have. For example, let's say you want to sell this lead gen agent isolated, right? Only this lead gen agent with nothing else. Well, what's the big value? What's your value proposition there? Essentially, you're going to sell them something that they can already get on Apollo for $39 a month. All right, well, what if you add the personalization part to it? It's still not valuable enough. What they actually want is they want 10 new qualified sales calls to book and show up on their calendar every month. And your system, a single automation, is not enough to deliver this, right? And then the third reason is that people simply don't value what they cannot see. A working backend, guys, building an automation in N8N or an agent that actually works is not enough. Arguably, was never enough. Clients need to be able to interact with your system in a positive, engaging way, track their progress, track all their data, and have some sort of control over their system. And if you look at tech history, guys, Microsoft taught this to everyone in the 1980s. History is repeating itself once again in the AI era. They realized that it didn't really matter how much raw computing power you threw in your system on the back end. It meant nothing to the average user unless it was actually paired with a graphical user interface that they could click on, they could explore with their little mouse, like tick, 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 click buttons with their keyboard. This is what users actually wanted, and they were willing to pay a premium for that. And this is how Windows was born, and it replaced DOS, right? And it still is like the standard way of doing things up to this day. Now, personally, I'm still an Apple guy, but you get the picture, and it's the same thing today. People, your clients, don't value what they cannot see, so you should be pairing your systems with a graphical user interface, and we're going to get into more detail. So you might be wondering, what is the solution to this? Well, instead of selling easy to copy, low value, fragmented, single agent or automation use cases one at a time for a couple $100 or $1,000, you build your clients an end-to-end system with full agentic capability that addresses multiple different needs that are related to solving the bigger problem. And you also pair it with a user interface that centralizes all the data and control in one place. All of a sudden, now you're justified to charge $10, $20, $50, $100,000. There are some deals that we have in the pipeline that are multiple six figures. And that's how you justify this amount, not by selling a single workflow agent at a time, right? And this is how you also build a real business with long-term clients, because you don't just want to get a client and get paid today. No, you want to be getting paid months or even years after you sign that client from the service that you already delivered to them. This is how you build a business that can scale. And this is how you build a business that has a moat around it, that now outsiders can't just come in and copy your template and then replicate and sell it, because it's hard to actually do. There is a level of expertise to actually doing it. And this example would be, let's say, a lead generation agent like the one I talked about earlier that pretty much generates leads for your clients. But this example right here will be a whole system designed to book more qualified calls for your client. So it generates the leads, it personalizes them, it reaches out to them on multiple different platforms. It even takes care of the appointment setting. It books them on a call, keeps track of everything in memory and on your CRM. And then it also makes sure it sends them reminders and warm-up sequences so they can show up on the call ready to close. This is a difference. Here, you're just generating cold leads. Here, you're booking ready to close warm sales calls. It's a massive difference, guys. By the way, if you're someone who has been following the AI space for a little while now, you see the potential of AI and its ability to transform businesses, and you think this is the future, and you're kind of on the verge, you're thinking about starting an AI agency before it gets too saturated and before everyone and their mom and their dog start selling AI to businesses, which it will happen, by the way. This is exactly what me and my team help you achieve inside my AI agency partner system, where we help you build a $100,000 a year AI agency way faster than you can probably do it yourself within a matter of a few months. We've done it many times before. I've also done it myself for my own company. Check out the first link in the description below to find out more information if you're actually interested in getting results faster and giving yourself a lot of leverage. Okay, now let's go ahead and have a deeper look into how these AI operating systems work. How are they made up? How can you actually build them, and how selling them to real clients looks like. So in terms of how these systems work, guys, I view a business, either my business or any client's business, as a synergy or a combination of different components. So we have a system, which is pretty much a blueprint that lays out how work should be done, a document that outlines a standard operating procedure to achieve a specific goal. Step 1, do this, step 2, step 3, and so on and so forth. We have this, then we have softwares and tools which are pretty much the means through which work is supposed to be done, or the instruments. And then arguably the most important part or component are the people, which are pretty much the agents or the operators that do work. So we have a system, outlines how work should be done. People follow that system and they use certain tools and softwares to achieve a result. This is all a business is. And when we're building an AI infrastructure for a company, what we're doing is we're pretty much taking a specific process that they have, that the people of that company follow that process using certain softwares to achieve a goal, and we're replacing this entire system with our AI infrastructure. The system gets replaced with our orchestration layer, which are essentially all the data connections and the infrastructure on N8N, the servers, the databases, the logins, you name it. Then the softwares and the tools are the APIs that allow our agents to then integrate with other platforms and take certain actions. And then the people now become our large language models and the agents that can make decisions. Now, this doesn't mean that humans are now useless for a company once you build them a system like this. What I've seen from real clients is that instead of firing their employees graduate to higher level, more important work. And part of that work is oversighting the system to make sure that it's actually working the way it's supposed to, fixing any mistakes that the system might make, and also playing a key role when the system is running into a human in the loop section. That human can decide, evaluate the output of a system and decide how the system is supposed to move forward. Now, without complicating it with all this jargon, guys, in simple words, an AI operating system is pretty much a bunch of workflows, AI or not, that you put together that work in conjunction with each other to achieve a specific goal, and then a dashboard or a GUI thrown on top of it that allows your client to visualize what all those automations are doing on the back end. So your graphical user interface is pretty much the front end, is what your client sees, so they don't get inside N8N and they see all those complexities that they don't understand. It allows your client to control the back end. It centralizes all the data that is running through your system in one place, keeps everything organized, and it also analyzes that data for valuable insights, and it turns those insights into visuals or KPIs that now your clients can see and understand and measure their business. So that's the front end, and then the agentic layer and the back end is pretty much a combination of end-to-end packaged solutions that all work together. You have human in the loop in there, safety mechanisms to make sure that everything gets done as smoothly and as correctly as possible. And then, of course, you have a heavy focus on providing clear, tangible ROI to your clients. So you're not just selling them a workflow, you're selling them an outcome. You're selling them a transformation. Now, what I want to do is give you a deeper look at this workflow right here that we built for a real client and how we created this dashboard right here that essentially tracks all the activity on this workflow. So first of all, I've also made a video on this. It's essentially a system we built for a company that tracks all the cold calls that its employees or its sales team makes, and then analyzes those cold calls and gives specific feedback on how the performance of each call can improve based on a sales framework known as NEPQ sales framework. In any case, so we have one workflow. There are like 3 workflows in total, I believe. And without this dashboard that we built for our client, the client would have not really have any idea what is going on behind the scenes unless they were checking these sheets right here. And who wants to be checking sheets all the time? This is not enjoyable. This is hard. It doesn't really give you much value. It's just a table. This, on the other hand, you can see that the total calls made were 22. The success rate is 36.4%. We process 4 leads, right? This is a daily outreach activity. You can come here to the cold calls. You can find a specific cold call and click on view. And then here you can see exactly the name of the lead, the phone of the lead, the call date. This is some mock data, by the way. So you don't call this person. This is a summary of how the call went. This is the strengths of the salesperson and the approach that they took on this cold call. And then these are some improvements that they can make next time in order to get better results. And all of a sudden, this becomes much more valuable. Here you can see that we centralize the API costs for our clients so they know exactly what they're paying and how much they're paying, and they can stay on top of it. And then here we also build this calendar feature where now they can set up appointments and manage their schedule. And by the way, each member of the team has their own logging page that they can log into, and they have their own little dashboard that they can see. And then of course there's also a master admin dashboard where everybody has access to, or not everybody, the management has access to, and they can see the individual performance of each person. But this is what I mean when I'm saying like a dashboard or a UI. And then it also has certain functionality here. So for example, you can create lists of your leads, and then we're adding more things to it as time goes on. But this is pretty much the general idea, guys. Now, I'm not going to show you how to build it step by step in this video. If you do want me to make videos like that, let me know. But I will share with you the tech stack, the different tools that you can use in order to build AI, agentic infrastructure and operating systems for businesses. So as far as the backend goes, or the automation, where all the magic happens, we have different tools. If we're talking about voice agents, you can use Retail, One Inbox, Vapi. We have Relevance, AI, N8N, Make.com, Zapier. These are all the platforms that you've probably seen on YouTube by now. They are used to build automation. So this is the back end of this system right here. This is a workflow I was working on this morning. So I can help myself come up with better content ideas and videos faster, right? And this is how the back end looks like. But you can understand that this is not very intuitive for a non-technical person to look at, right? It just doesn't make much sense. This is not going to be the way people want to use your systems. Now, that's as far as the backend goes. Then we have the large language models, which is, as I said before, what is going to be not replacing but enhancing the people, the brains of the business. So we have Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek. There's so many of them out there, and they all work in a very similar way. I don't really buy into the hype that, oh, this GPT-5 is like the best. Bro, they're all the same. Some of them are a little better than others at doing certain things, but you wouldn't really ever notice unless you're like a hardcore series user. Anyway, as far as the front end, you can build it on something like Lovable, Bolt.new, Relum. This specific dashboard is built on Cursor, which I believe Cursor is probably one of the most powerful systems you can use to build front ends. Actually, on Cursor, you can also build backends as well. So you don't even really need N8N. You can use N8N to develop maybe an outline and understand how the logic is supposed to work, and then you can download the JSON and use it inside Cursor in order to custom code your solution, and that way is more private and safe. Anyway, I don't want to get into too much depth here. If you do want me to get into it, as I said, make me a comment below and I'll make a video. And then we have the databases, which is where all the information is stored, right? Because this system, it needs to be storing this information about each cold call somewhere, right? So we have databases like Supabase, Pinecone, Quadrant. So this is pretty much how the AI operating system works on a high level at least. Now, what are some of the benefits of selling AI OS instead of selling single workflows? Well, there are a lot of benefits to it, guys. The first one is that you can justify charging your clients a much higher price, both upfront and a retainer, right? If I was to only charge my client for this workflow or the other 3 workflows that are connected to this workflow right here, then I could only charge like $1,000 or a couple $1,000. But all of a sudden now, we're not just building my client a workflow, we're building them an end-to-end system that allows them to track the performance of their team and sales train their team on an ongoing basis. So now we're going from a $2,000 price tag to a $20,000 or a $30,000 price tag, plus a very large retainer every month, so you can keep everything operating. And by the way, if you're wondering, clients pay their own API costs and credits and all that. Another benefit is that you decrease churn because the client now becomes dependent on your system. Their entire team starts using it. They need it now. They can't just walk away from it. Another one is that you demonstrate clear, tangible ROI and proof, because if you're building your client something on the back end, like a series of N8N workflows, right? It's not really that valuable to them. It might sure as hell work and get things done, but if they can't see it, they're not going to value it as much. With a UI, now they can see exactly what you're doing and what's going on and the work that went into it. And it's sort of like, I don't want to say a gimmick, but it is in a sense a gimmick. And they value your process and your system a lot more. Another big benefit, guys, and this is a huge one, you make upsells to your clients much easier, because now all you have to do is you have to propose an additional feature. Hey, do you want your platform to also be able to generate leads for you? Or also, do you want to automate that department as well? So now you're just proposing more and more features, and it kind of gets to a point where each feature is an additional few $1,000s, a few $100s on the retainer, and all of a sudden, you expand the average order value of your customer. And then last but not least, you now have a defensible position. Anybody can build this workflow. Anybody can build this workflow. Not anybody can build a bunch of workflows that all work together and then centralize them under this dashboard and make sure it actually functions appropriately. This is going to be your competitive advantage. Now, with that said, if you want me, I can make a dedicated video breaking down my exact process on how I myself am selling these systems and also our partners inside my AI agency partner system are doing it. I can make a full video where I show you like the niches that are interested in this, what they're buying, how to find leads, how to approach these leads, get them on a call, what to say, how to close them. If you want me, I can make a video on that. And if you're somebody who's genuinely interested in starting his own AI agency, signing your first clients, getting to a $100,000 a year or more, check out the first link in the description, guys. We have a bunch of testimonials. I've been doing this for a while now. I don't want to say I'm like one of the OGs in the space, but I have been doing it for over a year and a half. And this is a new space. It's only been around for like 3 years maybe. So yeah, in like 10 years, maybe I'll be able to say that I've been an OG in AI and all that shit. Anyway, if you're interested, check out the link in the description. Leave me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.